there's always something that we learned before before anybody told us anything, right? We were kind of like born into this idea the second that I mean, obviously we were born into it. The second that we came into the world, there was an unspoken like rule technically in the family, right?
Hmm.
And there was there was something in there that was feeling it that was actually true, which is I am, which is what we're calling this project, the I am project. And it could be anything. It could be from the I am the strong one, I'm the daughter, I'm the son, to I'm the problem or I'm too much. Um, we end up borrowing pretty much whatever is appropriate from the room for a long time and don't even realize it, right? What do you think, Vanessa?
Yeah, I think it helps kind of solidify, like, even it separates from what's outside of us, what's in. And I think that's what's kind of missing right now. People like to kind of seek, like, they kind of like to seek things outside of themselves because they were told to. Um, but really the answers are within.
Right. And that's what this show is. It's pretty much what happens when you stop and you analyze yourself, you take a look and you really embrace your surroundings. Uh
Yep.
and that's why we named it the I Am Project. My name is Chio. I'll be your host along with go ahead.
Divinely diamond.
And welcome in. So
Welcome in.
before we get into the guest that we have today, what is something that you or what is the I am that you were before all of this started? Before you became divinely diamond.
Um, that's a great question. I think for me, I was kind of more on the play it safe side. I was very programmed, very, and I have to admit, there were narcissistic traits that I've picked up along the way through my relationships that went all the way down to my parents. Like, I, it was a lot of 3D. I like to call it 3D uh, personality because I was indoctrinated. I was going through a lot of programming. So I think for me, I noticed that when I started to awaken, it came after I started to grieve over my son's dad, who I lost in 2020 to COVID. And it was something to where I literally, like, it started off as a communication barrier for me. I was separated from this person. I needed to find a way to communicate because once the communication's abrupt, our brains are not gonna, we need to know the answer. We have to, we can't just be left off abrupt like that. The human brain is like that. And for me, I had to find a way to communicate to him, even if it was through spiritual sense, outside of the earthly realm. And that's when I really got into like mediumship. I found a medium that I'm still friends with to this day. She put me onto a lot of other things mystical wise. And I think from there, that was when I started to learn law of attraction, how energy works. We don't die. We just, we live on energy through different forms. And it became a whole rabbit hole from there. So that's when I really started doing the inner work. It came from that. So when I did the inner work, the shadow work, really went within, bro. It seems like every time I go within, I learn something. There's always something new. So that's kind of what helped me,
That's
transition into who I am right now.
that's pretty cool. And I just want to add, but Divinely Diamond is also she's also gonna be the host for the I Am project. And
Yes.
it's cute. It's kind of a. I'm so sorry first of all for the loss of your of your
You're fine.
baby's
It's
death.
okay.
Um, but it happened through pain, right?
Yes. It happened through pain, and it also happened through a need to communicate, a human need to communicate to the soul. when I knew I couldn't physically do that anymore. I had to find a way to communicate with him. That is when I learned about the spiritual realm and energy and how we're always not alone. We don't really need, not to discredit, but we don't need a medium for real. We don't need a tarot reader because we can learn, we have the answers within, also learning the tools. And that's how I really learned. Like it's more, it comes back to you. It always comes back to you. So
Yeah.
that's how I figured it out, basically.
And it's like you start to realize that you're into all these things that you didn't even know you were into before, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. That's
Right.
crazy. Because I also
Right.
went through something similar.
Okay.
Um, for me, it was oh shit. Sorry,
No,
I'm
you're
gonna
good.
cut that off. But the 6 of Wands. Oh, go ahead. If I
I
think you should
forgot we're
just
going to be
ask a
editing
question.
shit. Oh, it's slowed down. What happened?
Did we cut off?
You kind of froze your back.
Bro,
Okay.
it literally froze. Oh, okay. I can hear you now.
Okay, that's perfect. That we didn't continue. That's why my cards dropped. All right.
Damn.
That was weird.
All right, go ahead. 3344. Oh shit.
Hey.
All right then. So you were
Okay.
talking. Go ahead. Continue.
Um, you were gonna get into yourself. What got you into I am?
Into I
Or
am.
what got you into like knowing like that you are the one that pulls the answers?
Well, for me, because I know now. I think it was more like the before all this, I was very insecure. Um, and I was like the pick me kid. So at one point, I realized that the reason why I mentioned pain was because at one point I realized that after the loss of like a partner in a sense, for example, or like heartbreak, I didn't lose somebody physically. Um, but I was kind of tired of the same loop. I realized I was in the same loop, and I was more upset with myself that I felt that I had already done everything I needed to do and was where I was supposed to be at, and that I wasn't. So it kind of like took me into digging into tarot, into Satanism, into all these different religions and ideas. Not
Yeah.
necessarily because I wanted to practice them, because I just wanted to see what was so captivating for everybody else that I couldn't find.
Right.
And
Yeah, you had to learn for yourself.
exactly, yeah. And coming from a Catholic, background, everything that we don't know is the devil.
Yep.
We fear.
Everything's a devil.
Hmm. I don't know about you, but in the Hispanic culture, we fear God, and God punishes us. Y por mi culpa, por mi culpa.
Yeah.
De culpa.
Yep.
but but not my God. My God's cool. He's baby Jesus in a tux. That's my version. And him and I are partners in crime. So we have a deal that he makes me fall so that I lose a little bit of fear in things, and I just get back up. He kind of challenges me to see how I get myself back up again. Because in the end, all those downfalls, all those times I smacked my face, had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be the person I am now. And
Mm.
yeah, I just saw that we were we were creating our own problems. That I was not even living the present because I was so stuck in the past.
Right.
Um, so it was a different approach to it. Um, from there, I realized that everything came together. That everything was the same answers, just lost in translation.
Right. How do you feel like, even with the Bible, like with so many man-made versions and things that get lost in translation, how do you feel about people referring to the Bible for their answers?
I personally, in my experience, I don't refer to the Bible unless it applied to me in some way. I think that everybody, I don't judge. I just embrace everybody. And I feel like if it's something that it is used as an excuse for your actions, it should mainly be analyzed and see if it comes from within or something that you were told to believe in.
Right.
So my questions are never challenging to challenge somebody else's religion views, but I just want to know if that they have a choice, you know?
Right. Right.
I think the I am is knowing that you're your own person that you need that acknowledgement from.
That, and I feel like and I know it's controversial when people like to, when they hear us say things like God's within us or we are God. I think because we have God literally installed in our DNA, it's almost like we are seeking the answers. Like it's us, but we're like a co-creation of God, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I using the right word? Like, an extension or like co-creation of God.
We derive from him.
But yeah, like, yeah. So I feel like when we go within and we're saying, it's really us. I mean, we're referring us as God as well. So it's like we are seeking the answers from God, but like we're getting it from within because He's within us already in our DNA. That makes sense.
100%. And I think that it's very
Yeah.
controversial when we talk about the Bible and all that stuff. But then,
Right.
um, I'm not discrediting any religion at all. I think that every religion is still going to lead you to the same place. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Literally.
it does. And it
Yeah.
doesn't discredit anybody else's. I think that for me, it was more like I'm a hands on person. When I started my journey, I hadn't personally read the Bible, but I knew a lot about it because my grandpa would read it every night.
Hmm.
And from that, when I realized I don't go to church, but I have a very close connection to God, you know? Because
Right.
yeah, I don't know about you, but like for me,
Yeah.
all that pain wouldn't have been possible to survive had I not believed in myself. And in believing in myself, I am believing in God because he's that little voice, the narrator in your mind, right?
Right. Right.
How do you see it in your experience? How did he present to you? Like how did you end up still believing in contact, because I feel like it contradicts kind of like our like religion itself and contacting the media, and then
Yep.
still believing in God. And a lot of people don't know that those two can exist.
Right. It's funny because growing up, I grew up in a Christian based household. And since I was 4 or 5 years old, I was automatically talked to about, like, I was told about Jesus and all that. It was more of like forcing me to go to church all my life. So it wasn't like I was given the chance to really have that relationship. It was more like, oh, we have to go to church every Sunday. Get ready. You need to be ready by 10 o'clock type. It is very structured, very much I had to do what I was told. So there wasn't any room left for me to be curious or like want to know, what is God? Who is he? Who's Jesus? Like who is he to me? I'm just being told these things. So being programmed, I literally have to say, like, when it came to my son's dad's uh passing, it's like it stripped away all of that, like everything. And I think the power of love really made me step into the unknown and the unfamiliar, which is, mediumship. tarot, learning other ways to communicate to the other side. And that is looked at as witchcraft. It's looked at as, oh, we're not supposed to be talking to spirits. We're not supposed to be doing that. You're going to get cursed. You're going to abomination, all these things. But that power of love that I had for my son's dad, it took over that fear. It took over that everything. So I want to say maybe unconditional love kind of put me into that new transition, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
It's it's crazy saying that from that angle, because I think it's a beautiful way to come in connection with it. Um,
Yeah. Because
and
I wanted that connection. And it
exactly.
took me at, like, I was 30 years old at that point, bro. Like, it just took me to want to know myself. I wanted to learn. I, you know, I, it literally starts with you. Like, you have to want it. You have to, it literally, or if someone's telling you you got to do it, are you really going to be like, that's just me though, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what right now that I'm sorry, right now that you mentioned your age, when did everything start coming true, or like everything start to click for you? Because I think that when we met, that was like one of the biggest things that, which we're gonna have a couple of guests right now, and we're just gonna put it out there. But
Yeah.
when did you start having all of these thoughts? When did everything start kind of clicking for you?
I want to say like between 32 and 33, but like 33, bro, was right when everything was like solidified. Like, this is my journey. Like, I think I just started opening into it 32, but 33 was like, we're here. We're here. Yeah. We're here with it.
I
I
love
say 33.
33. I love it. I
Yeah.
swear, because I was 33 as well. uh,
Yep. And
yeah,
that's Jesus' age, bro. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I don't know.
Some there. I don't
Sound
know.
like witchcraft, right?
It's, I mean, come on. And these are things like, and later on in our episodes, we'll dive more into Christ consciousness, but that's another controversial topic that we like to openly discuss because Christ, at least in my opinion, I think Christ came down to show us his teachings. He wanted to embody, well, he is the embodiment, but he wanted to show us the embodiment of unconditional love, how to treat thy neighbor, literally love people for who they are. And, you know, that I think that's the true way of following Christ. I really don't think we should be following Christ. I think we need to be embodying what he's doing, his teachings. And if you want to follow, I mean, you got to meet him exactly where he was, or you're just simply not doing the work. Um, that's my thing.
100%.
Like,
I love.
if you're gonna be Jesus, are you gonna come from a conditioned spot, or
What would Jesus do?
what would Jesus do exactly? Exactly,
And
literally.
it's the idea and the way that you see Christ and everything. We just met technically, and we met
Yeah,
through a post. So I was always
a post
curious.
about Christ consciousness. Remember
Exactly.
that.
A post
Hmm.
about God's Christ consciousness. I'm sorry. And ironically, that same post was what got my mom to start listening. And I remember when I saw this post, I don't know if I told you this, and if I haven't, then I'm being 100% honest. Um, but when I saw that she shared that thing on the post on Facebook, which I don't even know if you had shared it on Facebook or not. Um,
Oh no,
I was like,
don't even have one.
oh my God, it would be so cool if like if she got to see, like, if I got to tell her this. And then like you ended up commenting on something on my social media, and then I was like, I remember telling my wife, I was like, oh my God, look, this person, and then it was her, and blah blah blah. And then I showed my mom. But it's crazy because like for me it was really cool because I thought that I was just far fetching, but I never went to look in a book to look for answers. I felt like I always had to be in order for my truth to be accepted, I felt like I needed to find a physical proof. So any idea that would be
Mm.
for me, I would be like,
Mhm.
okay, then if this makes sense, why is it not out there? And then I would look into it. Like I was literally a couple of days, years old that I found that there's a, a theory about how pretty much um back in when psychology was being developed or the psychology theories were being developed, uh there was Rogers. He was a scientist, considered a scientist that pretty much would just sit in front of people, accept them as they are, love them as they are conditionally, and that would push the person to become the true person, the true I am they were supposed to be. And
Mm.
I think that a lot of times we already know who we
Oh
are,
yeah. Yeah.
but it's like really hard to accept it because it means accepting the mistakes that you made as well.
Right. Taking accountability.
And that is something that we don't like doing because imagine if I tell you and the things I reiterate the things that you're already punishing yourself for because you feel like you're coming short.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
there's something that I do want to mention because you said you were talking about witchcraft and
Yes.
and then you were talking about religion, how we're gonna go into that. You also talked about consciousness and how we need to embody. For me, I definitely see it like that. What I was trying to get at is that I do see it like that, and I realized it was like a mind-blowing experience when I realized that I didn't have to go to church to have a relationship with God. Uh,
Right.
I realized that if I was gonna have knowledge, I had to read it myself. And the second I read the first story in the Bible, or the first story I read was Adam and Eve, I realized it was all on the readers or the interpretation of the reader and how we allowed
Mm.
ourselves to be told what to believe in. So it starts at a very young age, but I was very firm that if I was going to be, I guess it's something I learned, I embodied later on from somebody, but I had to be right. So I had to find facts. And eventually I started to connect that science, spirituality, and psychology is all the same thing that proves that we are all one. We're all energy, frequencies, and vibration. And
Yes.
the true meaning of treating others how you want to be treated, right?
Right. Right. We are each like we're all one big collective and I feel like we're like a mirror of each other. Like whenever you meet somebody, it's a reflection of you. Literally like a reflection of you. I saw a video like a TikTok or something about it the other day. They were just talking about that. Um whenever you like you don't have a brother or sister or whatever, it's really a reflection of you.
Mhm.
It gets deep, bro, and a lot of people don't really it's not it's hard for the like how do I say this? It's hard for people who are kind of in the 3D mind, like kind of submerged in, for them to fully understand that concept because it's so hard for us as humans already to we need that like you said that physical evidence, that external, it's a physical literal thing that we have to see for ourselves. And sometimes we get the answers through a download, we get the answers through dreams. That's God letting us know. That's him communicating, I feel like.
Yeah, like when you
So we don't need that physical for real, for real.
exactly.
Yeah.
I 100%. Um Also like we want the physical proof, but then we believe blindly in religion, right? But then
Yeah. Oh, yo, yeah.
we practice religion and we say all these rules that we have, how we're supposed to love our neighbor, be kind. But then when
Yep.
somebody doesn't agree with us, that becomes conditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
That becomes conditional, and then we start to embody everything that we didn't, um, that we're not supposed to be doing pretty much. But
Right.
but before we get really deep into religion, because Definitely that wasn't the route that I was expecting, but I love how it took it there because it had to be said, you know? It had to be
Yeah.
said that the whole purpose of this is to show how the I am is the center of it all and how there is
Yes.
no difference because every person is going to think differently. Every person is a different universe. Every mind is a different universe. Just like it took you a different route in order for you to be at this point in your life, it took me like maybe 5 tries for me to get the point because
Hey,
I'm a little stubborn. But
you
I
got it though.
yeah, but I got it and I came out. This is for the times, like Cardi B said, right? This is for the times I use the opposite of wins. I'm just good at getting up and then trying shit again. So,
Hey, I know that's
ooh,
right.
clocked it. Nah. But
Right.
yes. And you know everything right now that is coming out is embracing the femininity side of things, right? I was
Right.
honestly mind blown when I came to the conclusion and looking into psychology that we cannot heal the mother wound and not neglect the product of the womb or the son of the mother that feeds from the mother, and that is
Oh.
also product which is us, the black sheep, right? The people
Hmm.
that ask too many questions, the people that were the problem, the strong one, the one who was maybe too much, who was maybe never enough at the same time. Um, and it's giving you it gave me the understanding that the black sheep is not a problem. The black sheep needs to exist because we are able to see everything in black and white how it is with no why? Because we had to embody everybody in
Yep.
order to fit in, which means
Mm.
what you eat. You can see yourselves miles away. And just
Hmm.
because people don't agree with you right now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't love them the same because you at one point didn't agree with something. So that is you in a different timeline. That is you
Right.
being the person you are meeting the person that you were at one point, and you are
Hmm.
also being the person that you needed at one point.
Ooh. And it's probably a test to see how you handle that shit.
I see it as I see people that test my triggers as practice.
Yep. Yep.
Even though
Yep.
you have mastered something, you still have to put it into practice. But we can go on and on about this. I want to introduce Eliza and Linda because I think that it's something that happens to all of us and it happens in different ways and it happens in different minds. And just because I didn't experience it the way that you did, uh, Divinely Diamond, or that Linda did, or that Eliza did, it does not discredit it because your truth is your truth, and that is why you are who you are.
Yeah.
Nobody is inside of you and this narrator in your mind, right?
Right.
So there
Right.
shouldn't be anybody between you and that divine. You can turn on your